Today's Wednesday, February 17, 2016. You're tuned into the Elevator Radio Show. Got a great show for you today, everybody. Stay tuned. Here it comes.
You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show, a weekly program dedicated to covering news and information on elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. Produced in the wee hours of the morning, a new show is uploaded every Wednesday, sometimes even before you get out of bed. Listen to some of the comments sent in from our audience.
Rob from New York writes, Tom, are you f***ing insane? You actually get up at 2 a.m. each Wednesday to put this show out? Man, you must love elevators. Tim from Illinois writes, I'm not sure why I listened, but ever since I tuned into the first show back in 2007, I've been addicted. Matt in Texas writes, I like your safety messages, Tom. It's important to remember them each and every day. And he also adds, when am I going to win the monthly prize pack giveaway? Ron from California sent this in. Despite your inability to pronounce words in the English language, I tune in each week and am glad that you offer this service to the industry. It's better than Google News alerts. Sarah from Washington writes, love the show, Tom, and look forward to it each week. I'm glad I signed up for the newsletter. You provide a valuable resource for the industry, not only for North America, but worldwide.
Enjoy the show. And now, here's your sleep-deprived host, Tom Sybert.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Yeehaw, yeah. All right, tell me how you feel. Yeah, there you go. Get it on all out. Yep. All right. All right, are you done? All right, good deal. Hey, it's good to be here, everybody. I am Tom Sybert, your host for the Elevator Radio Show this week and last week and next week and whatever week we might have on the program. It is good to be here. Man, it's hard to believe that it's already Wednesday. This weekend I spent it, obviously Monday was President's Day, so a lot of you had off. I don't know why, unless you had you're working a federal job, but you may have had it off. But what that meant for me was that I was lucky enough to spend the weekend down in St. Louis, Missouri. So after putting in a long week, work week left at Friday afternoon, like at 3 o'clock, fought traffic going through the city of Chicago, which was horrendous for an hour and a half. Only to get to some open highway Friday afternoon. Arrived in St. Louis with my family, 3 boys who had a pretty significant volleyball tournament downtown in St. Louis that pretty much, because of their schedule, started every day at 8 o'clock and then ran until like 7:30 or 8 at night. So if you can imagine a volleyball tournament where there's hundreds of teams there, and I want to say they probably had, I don't know, maybe 60 or 70 courts. It was, they're big events. They play Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and Monday's kind of when they do their brackets, and they're trying to win the tournament and get a better ranking in the country. And all I can say is I love to watch my boys play. I love St. Louis. It's a great town. The downtown area offers a little bit for everybody. I wish I had more time to enjoy it. I definitely have to get back. I know, we've got some listeners down in St. Louis. Wish I could have, did a shout out, say, hey, let's meet up or something like that. Just, it was not going to happen, but just really enjoyed myself. But it was a really, really long weekend. Each day was just long driving, trying to figure out food, get back to the hotel, all that stuff. And by the time Monday rolled around, we were all just ready to just cash it in, get the hell out of there, because it had just been a long weekend. So they ended up finishing up on Monday around 5 o'clock. We drove home about 4.5 hours. Took us literally 6.5 to get down there. So, but that was my weekend. But coming into work on Tuesday, I was exhausted, obviously, and then I'm thinking, man, I don't know if I can do the show this week, but but here we are, which is good. But just a busy week. I'm looking forward to this weekend where I do have to do some work, but ultimately I'm looking forward to just being able to sleep in a little bit and spend some time with the family, not worrying about getting hit with volleyball. So, but anyway, the takeaway was St. Louis is an awesome city. Cool to see some construction projects going on. Lots of history. One of my boys went to the city museum, which was really cool. He said some great barbecue was eaten by, not me, unfortunately, but by my kids. Just didn't get a chance. I was kind of contained to the dome. I don't know what center that was called, but the dome where the Rams play, or where they used to play. So it was pretty cool, and I have to say, very very cool city. Enjoyed it immensely. I look forward to going back and enjoying it a little bit more. So, but anyway, hope everybody had a good weekend. Other than that, I know some snow hit the Midwest, and nothing major, thank goodness, knock on wood. And let's hope that spring has sprung, and it is going to be soon warmer, which it's supposed to be towards the end of this week than it has been. And let's hope for an early spring this year. Let's see if this can be the year when we're not looking at the second week in June, knowing that it's going to stay warm for a long period of time. Let's just hope for that. So anyway, it is good to be here. As I mentioned before, we have a week's worth of articles to talk about, 2 or 3 of which are going to hit home to many of you out there in terms of how you bid contracts, because the reality is that as legislation is passed, as requirements are made, somebody ultimately will have to pay for those. And we'll get into that in a little bit. As always, if you want to communicate with me or you want to reach out, please do so. The best way right now is to do so on the Facebook page with all the wonderful different social media outlets, links, all that great stuff, whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. Right now, Facebook is probably the only one or the quickest manner in which you can reach out to me or see what's going on. We do post articles throughout the week, so if you want to go over there and like that page, feel free to do so. In terms of Twitter, I don't even know if we've got our Twitter feed linked in to, or it's like a pun or whatever, to our website aggregator. But as always, go over to elevatorradioshow.com. That's where you'll find all the old article links, including news links too. And just as a reminder, I do get emails occasionally from people saying, hey, I can't, the news article is no longer there. And unfortunately what happens is that over the years, the show's been going on since 2005. So some of those shows that date back from 2005, those article links, not necessarily show links, have been pretty much killed or switched or changed or removed or whatever, for whatever reason. So if you're emailing me asking me where that link is, I don't know. And I like saying that because I don't know. And I hope you can find it one way or another. Down the road, contact the company or do a link search on that link website, if that makes sense. Anyway, well, we'll get you into the news and we'll have you out of here in no time. And as always, thanks for joining us today.
Let this week's news stories give you a lift on what's happening in the vertical transportation arena. Each news segment is organically dug and fresh with news stories of the week. Got lift? If not, stay tuned.
Just one quick note that I did want to mention. The audio last week, I have no idea what happened. All I know is that somehow I think the audio show is messed up too, to be honest with you. I had a response from Bob. Bob, thanks for sending me that post link going, hey, it sounded weird. I felt like I was in a room listening to the program or listening to a phone conversation. And literally that's what it was. For some reason, I don't know what was going on. I have no idea what button I pressed or didn't press, but the reality is that there was no intros, no fancy schmancy stuff going on, and so you had a lot of space in between, I don't know, segments to some extent. So anyway, I think I've got it fixed this week. I also bumped up the audio so it's a little bit louder, so you're not like turning your volume all the way up on your computer, only to find that when you play something else, you're blaring your ears off. So yeah, it's not exactly an exact science. So anyway, hopefully we got all that resolved. I took a good half an hour this morning trying to figure it all out, and I think I succeeded. So anyway, first link of the show, if you haven't already registered for the 2016 Educational Conference in Savannah, Georgia, that is fast approaching. Go ahead and do so now. 52 days, 3 hours, 6 minutes, according to the website. You can register now. And if you look at the conference topics, there's actually some that look pretty darn interesting, to say the least. So I encourage anybody to attend if you're able to. Take that time away from work, and as you look at these dates, the conference goes on Saturday, Sunday, which is great. So if you have an issue with not being able to, spend the entire 2 days, it's set up in a way that you don't have to. Well, you don't have to take that much time off of work, which is truly nice to do. So get out of your cold environment, get over to NAC /conference and check out the agenda. But there's some pretty good, interesting things going on. So if you can take time away, I really encourage you to do so. Not always that easy for me, unfortunately, but it's kind of a nice way. But check out the agenda topics; they look pretty good. Okay, Elevator U conference registration has opened, and we did cover this a few shows ago. Have a couple of conference calls this morning regarding Elevator U and the educational conferences or educational topics that are going to be included, which will be released shortly, which is great. But this will be held in Quincy, Illinois, and actually coming up through St. Louis. I thought about the conference. I'm excited about it, and hope everybody can attend because other than this event and the NASA international events that are held regional and whatnot, these the NAC and the Elevator U are the two major conferences in addition to obviously the regional ones that are going on. But anyway, so get registered for that and get your hotel reservations in as well. Okay, the New Haven Register news reports broken elevators at Surfside leave West Haven seniors stranded. Seems to be an show that has lots of articles about elevators being down, and the reality is that for 2 hours, 48 minutes on Saturday night, the coldest day of the year, there were no working elevators at all for the 254 elderly and disabled people in the 12-story West Haven Housing Authority Surfside Public Housing Complex. Kind of scary, when you think about it. If there was a fire or there was some issue, obviously you use the stairs, you don't use the elevator. But for any kind of facility that has an increased accessibility or a population that requires that has special needs or requires increased accessibility, the elevators are truly important to them. One of the comments in the article is that second time in 2 days that one working elevator had broken in the high-rise, which finally is having its other elevator reconstructed after 23 years, the end of its expected life. So my question to you out there is excuse me here. My question to you out there is, what do you think the life of an elevator should be? When you think about throwaway items and going to Walmart and buying a bunch of crap, what should, and obviously computers in today's elevators truly are. Well, elevators today that are being installed are being run by microprocessors, controllers, and stuff like that. And when you look at the computer you have in your desktop or that you use every day, the reality is that you're not using the same computer you had 23 years ago. So what year would that be? So we got you're not. I don't even know if they had elevators back then. No, they did, but they're really not in demand. Obviously, our industry doesn't move as quickly as that, but still PLCs, microprocessors are do become obsolete, do have new models that are replaced by them, have gone out of business, et cetera, but 23 years, I guess, it sounds like a pretty long useful life for an elevator, but I'm just curious to know whether or not that's pretty accurate. I was in a hotel over the weekend in St. Louis at the Sheraton in, I think it was Clayton anyway, but they were old Westinghouse elevators that had to have dated back to the 1960s. But they're pretty cool, pretty fast, pretty smooth. I imagine that there's probably some kind of, actually I don't think there was any kind of modernization done on them because the elevator buttons were all original, and one side was at 80 height and the other was not. So anyway. Okay, a bunch of escalator news-related articles talking about linking up the accident where the child lost part of his foot or all of his foot when in Malaysia. And so the government of Malaysia, or in Malaysia, has basically proposed some additional safety features for escalators, which I believe these are coming from the United States. And most importantly, they're talking about the importance, or not, that was redundant, I'm sorry, but they're really hitting home the fact that parents truly need to ride with children on escalators, and they really have to watch out for them, which ideally is going to prevent accidents from occurring. No matter how many safety measures you take, it's still important to keep an eye on little kids. And elevators are not amusement park rides. And the sooner that the world knows this and understands this, the sooner they will definitely think twice or about if there's elevators or escalators around, allowing their children to just kind of, play around them, or if somebody is seen playing around them, not to have that happen. So, kind of scary. Okay, in Brooklyn, or the Brooklyn Daily Eagle is reporting that Simbrowitz. I think that's it. Anyway, it was Assembly Member Stephen Simbrowitz is fighting or pushing for the MTA to build elevators in subway stations. I am not sure why they don't have them, but all I can say is I believe that obviously they cost a lot of money. It's not as if you're putting in a $2,000 device, and obviously funding for that would have to be included. There was a time when federal funds were being used for improvements through the Federal Stimulus Act, and I do believe that is all gone as of now, but I could be wrong on that. But yeah, it's a good idea to push for accessibility on certain platforms and stations, because the reality is you're going to find they're going to find themselves in a lawsuit sooner or later, and probably this article is going to be one that will put them there, unfortunately, or shedding light on it. South China Morning Post article stating Chinese man spends over 400,000 yen on illegal glass elevator for his parents and grandmother. Guy must have a lot of money. Made an elevator, built it outside. It's illegal, and I don't know what's going to happen. Some government officials are more strict than others. Obviously, I think in this case, I don't know what they'll do. I know Department of Natural Resources in Wisconsin is a little bit more relaxed. You can break the law or break anything, be fined, and not have to really do a whole lot about it, which is kind of crazy. I don't know if that is kind of catch under the counter or what, but it's, kind of interesting. Okay, didn't realize how much tabloid photos can go for, but if there's any a reason, or ever a reason, I should say, to put cameras in elevators, this might be it, because TMZ ended up buying a video that had a football player, and it's loading up right now. I can't remember the guy, of him, I guess, assaulting his girlfriend in an elevator, and they bought the video for $100,000. Man, so you elevator mechanics out there, maybe perhaps, when you're checking your checking your things out, your routes out there, perhaps putting cameras in elevators is going to be a good thing financially, maybe, for building owners, in case something happens like that. So yeah, if there's ever something that happens in an elevator that is not, obviously it involves a celebrity or sports person, you might want to think twice about what to do with that video. Okay, artist gets stalled in elevator prior to Grammys. August Burns Red gets stuck in elevator, hitch ride to Grammys with fire department. So everything was good. They did what they were supposed to do, stayed in the elevator, did not try to get out. That's good. All right, my mouse roller button is not working. Just thought everybody would like to know that. All right, I'll have to get a new mouse. Yeah, it's just not turning at all. So I got to do it the old-fashioned way. Here's the article I was talking about earlier regarding who's going to pay for what. Okay, so CBC Hamilton website, or cbc.ca, has an article talking about a new law would protect tenants in smaller buildings from elevator outages. Change comes after Red Cross and city workers took blankets to residents trapped in their apartments last year. And the reality is that when you're talking about 150, and I'm sorry, when you're talking about an elevator, oh man, there's my mouse. Okay, that has elevators that are down, with kind of no no consequence, I guess. It really puts a huge burden on those that are living there. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, my thing is that if I ever retire, I'm living in a ranch. I don't even want a basement. That's how crazy that is. Man, my mouse is just not. I'm losing my mouse. Anyway, but the reality of this is that you put a law like this into effect, who's going to pay for it? I mean, is this an opportunity really to say, listen, we can make sure all your elevators are running, but you're going to have to put another whole. You're going to need to have enough equipment on hand so that any of the parts that break down are available at your facility. I've seen this before. I've seen it before. So, the reality is that we'll get a job, for an elevator, package or whatever. We will sell it, and they come back and say, we need you to price out a replacement controller. And I'm like, whoa, really? You want a complete controller in case the other one breaks down? I mean, that's how crazy some of this stuff is. So will this be the direction they go in? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but this is kind of the issue I see with any kind of legislation that kind of gets passed or that goes this direction. The reality is someone's going to have to pay for this. It's a great idea, great article. Legislators understand that, oh, yeah, we should do this. I think it's a great idea, but somebody just know by doing so, the tenants are going to have to pay for this unless there's some type of rent control or, something that is associated with that. But and the other thing is who's going to actually, who's going to enforce it? How are they going to enforce it? What are they going to do? So many questions. It'll be interesting to see if this gains traction. Okay, four men were rescued from a lift up in Superior, Wisconsin. Fox 21 News reporting. Apparently, there was a man lift at Superior General Mills elevator. They were about 90 feet up. Fire department came out and were able to help them out, and everybody was okay. Kind of scary. Reality is I'm familiar with this location pretty well, so I hope, glad everybody's okay, and hopefully I figure out what was going on with that elevator so they can prevent it from happening in the future. Okay, next news. I'm not going to even click on this. The reality is because I don't want to show the video. It's all over the place, and if you know what I'm talking about, you've seen this in your news feed or whatever. This happened I believe it happened in the UK, although it's like everywhere. It's a video that was taken by somebody who was videotaping his friend who decided to slide down the middle of the the two escalators, the up and the down escalator on that little flat part, and it goes pretty badly. I mean, there's a reason why there are obstruction devices in the middle of that is to prevent this. And all I can say is that it kills me that this was so virally posted. And if stupid people are going to do stupid things like this, they deserve what they get. I don't know how to say it. I mean, you can put any sign you want up in the world, but the reality is that alcoholism or intoxication is never an excuse to do something idiotic like this. Nor is youth, but it's what are you going to do? I mean, let's weed out the herd a little bit. And if this is the best way we can do it, man, by all means. Darwinism at its best. Let everybody watch this on your own. If I link it up, it's like cross-link through time, and there's like a billion ads on there, and I just don't want to watch it. But you go ahead and watch it on your own time. Star.com has an article talking about the Institute of Engineers in Malaysia. This is, again, another article I thought was important to link up. Looking to take escalator safety into their school systems to teach children. I think that what they had done was they looked at the elevator escalator safety rider program and in making sure that it met, as a possible idea. And what's awesome about it is that if they're able to do this, hopefully they can reach children across their country. So that they can make a difference, prevent accidents. But really, parents are going to be important in this. But it's somewhat very, very similar to the Safety Rider program, and hopefully they can get that up and running sooner than later. Because it's one thing to talk about it; it's another to just to do it. It takes funding to do that. It takes a big effort to do that, but the rewards are absolutely worth it. And again, I just wanted to, let's see here. Oh, no, it's not there. Okay, next article, another escalator incident, or not an incident, but article. Channel 6 CBS News maybe, or CBS, ABC. I forgot which one this is. I think it's CBS. I'm looking at the logo. Okay, mother of special needs child wants escalator repaired at local Macy's. This is not something you see every day. Apparently, the mom of a daughter... It's actually a pretty good article in terms of explaining why escalators are not supposed to be used as walking, as stairs when they're not working, mainly because stairs on an escalator don't meet the building code. But the reality is that this frustrated mom wants the escalator fixed because her daughter, who has a seizure disorder and special needs, cannot take the elevator, or else it may cause her to go into a seizure, which is kind of scary. Reality is that escalators are not required by ADA, nor should they really ever be, in my opinion. And, if the escalator is going to take a long time to fix or needs funding to do so that may not be there, those are typically the two issues that will prevent the issue. But ultimately, really, the escalator should be blocked off, as the building department has indicated in the article. So anyway, yeah, but apparently didn't realize that there's other reasons for taking an escalator other than just out of moving lots of people at one time. Escalator mishaps in urban parenting. Whoa. Again, article from Malaysia, which just kind of, it's an interesting blog post. And it talks about the fact, which is critical in any country or any place that has a, pretty significant size of metropolitan size, I should say. Department of Occupational Safety and Health was cited when, in terms of the number of accidents that occurred, citing that the majority of them happened to children. So, I'm glad that they are posting all of these articles. I really hope it helps and makes a difference. And just as a reminder, go to Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation, EESF.org. There is safety for children. There's a video. There's an activity sheet. I encourage you to go ahead and truly, be part of the safety movement, so that kids and children are not afflicted are not afflicted by escalators. That's not what I meant. Are not hurt because of improper riding behavior. That's the proper way of saying it. So use that. Share that link with any family, friends, or if you got little ones, that'd be great too. Last news article of the the show, Elevator World Unplugged has a pretty good article about Otis Tufts, which I think is pretty cool. And didn't realize Otis Tufts had such a significant history. Born in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1804, at the age of 21, went into Lowell to begin his career as a machinist and an inventor. I would love to have been around during this time. I give, anybody during this time who came up with designs and engineering expertise just a huge amount of respect for the investments they made in not only seeing their designs come to light, but in just making a difference. How the world, how the United States was, how it was molded. I mean, it's just really amazing. I mean, what they did back then was monumental in size, even more so than what Steve Jobs did. I mean, I know Steve Jobs is huge, and so is Bill Gates, but the reality is that there were so many different people out there, like Otis Tufts, who literally just did it, made it happen, and just did it with a passion. So hats off to you and to all of the pioneers before us that did what they wanted to do, did what they thought was the best intention of the world and their country, and one that made them money, obviously. But really hats off to all of them. That entrepreneurship, I think, unfortunately, it's still there in America today. I think there is a resurgence of it, but not necessarily on the manufacturing level that we saw back then, which is just reality. So anyway, well, that's going to do it for the show, everybody. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Be safe out there. Spread that word on safety, and we'll be back next Wednesday with a brand new show, and I think a prize pack giveaway, or maybe not next week or the week after. I can't remember. No, it's 2 weeks. Maybe it's 1 week. I don't know. Anyway, we'll be back next week. We'll figure out then. And as always, share the show with your friends, and thanks for joining us. Take care. Bye-bye.